All right, Coach Matt, season starting this weekend. Scheduled to start Friday, got bumped back because of weather, but just talk about the start of the tennis season for both the men and women.
Well, it's going to be different, that's for sure. Still haven't a total picture of what every team we play against has because of COVID and some of those things. We were fortunate because we got just about everybody in that we expected to. So on both sides, when we're looking at the men first, a lot of people returning this year. We've added a new player, Ronzo Alachia from Peru. And so we also added a transfer from Millsaps, Grayson Godbold. Was a really good player from New Albany. We recruited him, but lost him to Millsaps, and now he's come here for his last COVID year. So that gives us a lot of depth. We actually only have, from the Mississippi kids, we have one freshman this year. Okay. The rest are going to be actually two freshmen. The rest are people that had playing time, from previous seasons. So excited about that. I think, without seeing everybody but having a general idea of what people have, I think we're going to be one of the better programs this year. Women's side, we're very young, but very talented. We have 3 girls that were state champions. Nice. in their flights out of high school. They come from winning programs, and really sweet girls, really good students and good people. So I'm excited about that.
Well, you were able to get a fall in for the most part. I know you didn't quite get what you wanted in, and some players weren't able to make it the whole way through. But what did you see or learn about both teams during the fall?
Well, I think we're hardworking. I think we're really, really competitive. The disappointment is not having the ITA. Our scrimmages were cut back quite a bit. So after a while, you get kind of tired of just practicing all the time. You want to beat up on somebody else. But no, I think we're very talented, and that would be the biggest description of this team. Very talented and very competitive, really want to win. And so you think that would be every team, but some teams more than others, and these guys just kind of come in here like not liking to lose. So I like that about them.
Yeah, you kind of picked that up in our interviews with the players as well. They got that hunger, they got that drive, and a lot of times that's what it takes to get you over the edge against some of your opponents.
Yeah, absolutely. And being in junior college, only having 2 years, you have got to be intrinsically motivated. This time here will fly. When I think of that, I think of Sergio Garcia, has come back for his COVID year. What a leader. This kid is on his own, 5 a.m, hitting the gym. When he went back home over Christmas, training every day, and you can notice it. I mean, when you see him, he looks fitter, he looks stronger. Hitting the ball bigger. He's kind of changed his whole game this year, trying to be much more of an offensive player. And so I think he's going to have a great season. I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
You can really tell he matured mentally as well because, and he talked about it in his interview, in the COVID part last year, when everything got shut down, it was him and Juliana. They were the only 2 people on campus. So they both had to grow up. Of course, Juliana went on to play elsewhere, but that mental aspect of his game is going to be big too.
Yeah, you can definitely tell when he comes back that he really appreciates things a lot more. Not that he didn't before, but you can see that he gets it, that we're not guaranteed tomorrow in anything in life. And so he looks like he's really seizing the opportunity to make the most out of this. And he's going to be able to play at a 4-year school. I think his dream is to go to a really good one. So he's hungry, and so he doesn't need me to motivate him. He's a very self-motivated kid, and it makes a big difference for the rest of the guys on our team.
And that's what I was going to say. Guys like that, guys like Junior, who are self-motivated, who wanted something big, that attitude is contagious, not only with the guys, but with the girls as well, since they're always working together.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird dynamic because we got 2 different teams scoring differently, but at the same time, they're around each other. They're around the practices together, which kind of makes it special. Junior came back and has clearly lost weight, gotten fitter. He's hitting better. He looks a lot more confident. Torian King had a great fall. Despite having not that many scrimmages, we did one with East Central and Meridian, and just came out of that feeling like we really got a good team. Yeah. And I knew with the girls when we did that, we didn't have our Italian girl, Gaia Del Sordo from Italy. Mm-hmm. And we brought her in now, and that just pushes everybody down a spot, and so that gives us some more depth. So that's been a big help.
Yeah, depth is going to be a key this year. We talked about the kids, about how COVID has affected them, but as a coach, you can't really prepare for it because it's kind of like an injury. You just don't know It's not when it's going to hit, if it's going to hit, or not if, but when.
Right.
Just talk about your mindset when it comes to dealing with that outside aspect of, hey, COVID could really shake things up.
Yeah. I think all the coaches in the beginning, like from the fall, you could see the morale around campus that we all were kind of drained. Mm-hmm. It's just that unknown where we're coaches and athletes are routine people, and when you're out of your routine and there's no guarantees and everything, you don't know whether we're going to get to play or our season's going to be canceled. You could really see by the time we got into Christmas break that everybody was just emotionally drained. And now you can kind of tell like we're kind of getting used to it. And in some ways, it's better for everybody. We want to live in day-tight compartments, one day at a time. And so it's been a blessing. It's been helpful. But I think in the beginning, it was really tough. Now we're just kind of rolling with it. We know that we can't control everything, but we can control our effort and making sure that we're doing the things we're supposed to do with social distancing and keeping our masks on and using good hygiene, and then also just working hard from a tennis standpoint and taking care of business.
Well, Coach, let's talk about goals, and let's start with the women. What are your goals for the women? I guess you say individually as also as a team.
Yeah. Well, this year is going to be different because now we're going to have a regular season champion. Mm-hmm. It used to be that everybody got to the regional tournament. The top 3 teams went to nationals. Now it's going to be only 6 people go. There's going to be host sites where each team will host. So my goal is always to win a regional championship here. If that doesn't happen and we were to finish in the top 3 and make it to nationals, that's still a huge success. But I don't think with the kids we have, I don't think we should ever shoot for anything lower than that.
Might be a little while before I get to the bank.
That's an incomplete pass. Let's give it a Renaissance replay. Renaissance Mobile Check Deposit. Make the right call and open an account with Renaissance today.
Awesome. All right, so you talk about that, and I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot. So years past, it's been different than what they've always do. Explain to everybody that this system this year, with tennis people are going to understand it. So people like me, that's not a tennis person, that needs this information. Explain it to those people, how it was versus how it is now.
Well, we're kind of the last division. Junior college is kind of the last one to get on board with what Division I and some of the other ones have done. Historically, we would have 3 doubles, number 1 doubles, 2 doubles, and 3 doubles, and then 6 singles. Mm-hmm. And every one of those matches was worth a point. But more than that, when we got to the regional tournament, if you were the number 1 player, you were in your specific number 1 draw. Mm-hmm. Number 6 player had a draw. Now we're doing more like Division I does, where it's ICC versus Jones. It's not my number 2 versus their number 2 in a draw.
Right.
So when we go score it at the regional tournament, it's going to say ICC advances or they don't. It's not, ICC lost as a team, but so-and-so won his flight and moved on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I like that better, and one of the biggest benefits is originally you have to really have your lineup established very early in the season because you want to get a good seeding at the tournament for your flight. I want my number 6 to have a good draw, my number 5 to have a good draw. Now it will just be teams, the whole team plays the other team. So if Jones was hosting, we would go there as a team and play them. So I can adjust my lineup, and we have more time to make those changes until we get a little bit closer to the tournament time. And so it's just a little bit less pressure there. We can kind of work through things and find out who's a good fit at what spot.
Kind of adds a little bit more gamesmanship on your part as a coach as well, because it does give you that little bit of wiggle room.
Yeah, it always did. When I was a player and a coach in the SEC, you would always, the lineup battle was kind of a big deal, and then they started making the coaches submit their lineups a week early so that you could kind of get all the drama out of the way and not have people going crazy when they got there, show up at the match and I don't like your lineup.
Yeah.
And then they got a little tighter on the rules too. So you can't just take a number 1 player and put them at number 6. Yeah. That would be illegal. So if you want to put everybody where they're supposed to be, but I would say you've got time to figure that out more now because we're playing as a team score. So.
And then, of course, how's that going to affect the tournament? I guess you talked about the regular season. So do we have a north-south, or is it just the entire state?
Yeah, so what we're doing is this year it'll be the top seed in the women's will determine the host site. Then the next year it'll be the men's. And so they will play the men. If they play the men on a block of 2 or 3 days, then the women will play after that. But the host site is going to be determined by whoever the women champion is this year. So, and thinking about that, that'll also help because the number of courts. If you were having to host all the teams, you'd have to do it at a facility that was large enough to do that. But now, because you're doing it almost like a baseball super regional or something, where you just have the one team coming there and playing you guys. You can knock it out at your home facility. So
because we've ran into hosting before, and then it never fails. When we host that tournament, it's going to rain. We've been blessed to have Tupelo help us because they've had those indoor courts available. But we're the only people that have that. So we go to Gulf Coast, it rains. We go to Jones, it rains. So this is going to help, not eliminate, but kind of not stretch you as thin. That's
probably one of the most nerve-wracking things when you're hosting either the ITA or the regional tournament, and you're planning on a 3 to 4 day event in Mississippi.
Yeah.
At the end of the spring, you can almost guarantee there's going to be rain, so everybody's keeping their fingers crossed and holding their breath. And although it gets cold here, it's not cold enough to justify every town in Mississippi having indoor facilities. Right. So rain can be a big problem.
Well, I know you got to get to the courts, get the kids ready. Coach, I appreciate your time. Anything else you want to add?
No, just appreciate the support that everybody's given us here, and we hope that we will represent ICC, our alum, and our fan base with class. We're trying to put a product out there that you all will be proud of. So if you get a chance, come out and watch us.
If this just cost a little bit less.
Let's take a look at that with the Renaissance replay. Make the right call with over 400,000 shopping discounts right from the Renaissance Rewards Extra checking app.